Well, thanks for waiting, guys. Our sincerest apologies for the delay. We know it's been quite a while, and if we would have had it any other way, we could have. If we could have done it, we would have definitely done so. Thanks for your wait. And it looks like if nothing else goes wrong, we might be ready to start soon, right?
Yes, and I think your patience shall be rewarded, guys, because we now have the first game of the best of 5. That is, of course, the grand finals in the European regionals here in Tours in France. So, guys, without further ado, we don't want to keep you waiting any longer. We're going to dive right back into the action with our casters, Dreadnought and Kalaris. Take it away, guys.
Thank you very much. Let's go into game number 1 here. We are in the grand final once again. We are on Infernal Shrines. Get hype, get busy. As to the left-hand side, we will have mYinsanity with Splendor on Karazim, Hastu Orbs on Lunara. We have Nurok playing Greymane. Blumby will be on Muradin. And finally, on that Illidan, of course, it is Darkmock. And then to the right-hand side, we have Team Fnatic, with Shrimpy going to be playing Falstad, Smexy will be on Rhaegar, Wooby will be playing Tassadar, Breeze is on Johanna, and finally Quagnix will be on Sonya. Let's get into this. Kalaris and Dreadnought bringing you the grand final here from DreamHack Tours.
And already, a lot of us may have forgotten the draft a little bit here. We do see an Illidan style composition versus the Sonya. Rhaegar already going out the gates. He is not opting into the mobility. He is going for a shield-oriented build, showing that he wants to get more wave clear when it does come to the shrines. No surprise there. Winning the shrines is how you win Infernal Shrines. So really well done. Being heads up, adapting to the situation here.
That's some good analysis already. Winning the shrines is how you win Infernal Shrines. I'm loving it, Dread. Let's start things off with a bang. We've got a Wisp up to the top as well as for mYinsanity, scouting out any kind of rotations, keeping Greymane a little bit safe. But they do know 4 are already down towards the bottom, so he is fully and free.
Top lane, there is a little bit of a skirmish. Greymane is taking a lot of poke. Obviously, Sonya is one of the best solo laners in the game. Greymane can do his thing, but realistically, she will be winning that lane over time here. So trying to zone a little bit of XP. Not really too much is going to come of it, though, for the most part. We do see both teams actually maneuvering a 1-4 between these two lanes. Obviously, a large amount of wave clear sitting on the side of Fnatic for the time being, so they're keeping up. But as this game moves on, Nature's Calling will turn that tide around when it comes to the wave clear.
Not too bad. The only person that's really benefiting from the 4-4, the 4 split, of course, is that Tassadar with the globes, being able to collect every single thing that is going on. As you can see, he sticks with the 3, while Falstad clears towards the mid. Very, very important.
Actually, already interesting. You do see, even though mYinsanity, because Falstad doesn't have the mount, he's essentially staying in mid lane. So mYinsanity is winning this wave clear just with Lunara alone here because Johanna is now stuck in the bottom lane and everything else. So realistically, I feel like a little lack of coordination already coming up from Fnatic. But honestly, it's one of those things where it's like, really, what are you gaining? Not too much. Shrine's going to spawn in the upper lane here. Early rotations are going to be very important. Sonya does have a great opportunity to be able to solo this here. So who makes the rotations is going to be very important.
Yeah, got to be careful about those rotations as well, I feel. Especially since it's at the top overall. They have a lot of land to traverse. They all do get up here pretty safely. Illidan's delaying 2 towards mid there for a moment. Johanna getting to that party a little bit later.
But Quacknink's actually getting a lot of damage there.
Yeah, we'll back off for now. And they are totally fine just getting some of these monsters.
I mean, that is going to be pretty huge, honestly. It draws a tap well from Sonya. Also, Tassadar does provide better wave clear than Illidan, so he will be winning the rotations between those two. The 4-man for Fnatic, in my opinion, is going to be a little bit better. Sonya's more susceptible without having the Tassadar there, but it doesn't look like anybody's going to be rotating up. 22, 25 now, actually, coming in for mYinsanity, whereas 16 for Fnatic. They're very patient.
It doesn't feel like there's many threats for Sonya at the moment, right? I mean, it's only really the Stormbolt that could cause problems at the front if she goes a little bit far. Although she's just used a spear, didn't connect with anyone. She will move away for a moment.
I do like the rotation from Tassadar now coming up. Illidan's going to be the response as well. Close again. Both teams are actually not trading at all. I feel like the Sonya Tassadar composition can be far more aggressive than the Illidan here. The blind does come out. 37 slowly goes in, and finally Quacknix does something, but it feels way too late here.
Yeah, mYinsanity are going to be able to pick this one up. They do get the 40 monsters. That's the first Immortal going over to them, but are they going to lose anyone in the process? No! They all get away. Very important.
They're going to bait the leap before it gets to the wall, I believe, at this time, just because there it is. They're positioning, so they are going to get a little bit more damage when it does come to the shrine here. But again, I really very much feel like Quacknix was very patient.
Oh, and the root! Oh, so close! Oh, Quacknick's first blood goes to mYinsanity. That was quite unfortunate for him considering the position, and the Frozen Punisher really doing a lot with all of those little frozen balls onto the ground.
Yeah, that was the worst case scenario there. The bait over the wall, losing a hero as well. That's 3/4 of a lead here. Schwimpy looks like he's going down as well. He does get the barrel roll over the wall. He will be able to survive, but that's going to be a lot of XP lost there. And almost a full level lead, even though it was only 1 kill, just with how things played out on that first shrine.
I wonder actually if this flies off cooldown, because he can get down there pretty quickly in a moment. I think also Tassadar is rotating around.
Tassadar got the rotation.
But you're right, they did lose indeed some of that experience from some of those minions, as we do have Darkmock going to clean up the easy camp towards the bottom, and taking the neutral one is actually very nice, and if they can get away with it, quite sneaky, and gives them a little bit of benefit down towards that bottom lane.
Especially when you're only using Illidan, essentially not forcing a rotation, but they do smell this out actually. Fnatic trying to get a flight. I do believe it was canceled, so they do not make that rotation there. So yeah, they've got a lot of pressure everywhere on the map. It is now rounded to more of a half-level lead is going to be realistically where it is. But again, Fnatic's patience on the Shrine, I really want to see them be far more aggressive on the Shrine than they were. Because, I mean, Lunara is a late-game-oriented hero, whereas you have that Sonya Tassadar very dominant in the early game.
Yeah, and it comes back to what I kind of mentioned before. I don't think that there was much threatening Sonya. She was a little bit apprehensive about going forwards. It felt like that, right?
Yeah, I agree very much there with you. So they're already drawing 2 resources to clear on bottom. Shaman Camp going to be taken for Fnatic. Merc Camp for mYinsanity. I want to see them try and time this. Timing with the map objective is very crucial here. It doesn't look like that's going to be the case.
Oh, Quacknick's you cheeky fella. So just wait for a moment while the Shrine comes up. And of course, mYinsanity is probably going to do exactly the same up towards top. Is there anything compositionally here that will give them an advantage? Maybe Falstad cleaning, then flying back down? Is that something that helps here?
I mean, yeah, Falstad's mobility is something, but then also if one thing to be looking at for mYinsanity is they're going to be the nature calling. If you just want to neglect the lane, help it out, throw out just like a little bit of auto attacks, you can get a lot of siege there, and the Shamans will get stronger and stronger. Lunara, you see, she's staying to clear the Shaman Camp, whereas you don't see that from Fnatic, so they're looking to force a fight here. They need to capitalize on the lack of rotation for Lunara.
A little bit behind in terms of experience as well. Fnatic does not want to let this Punisher go and then face potentially a Punisher plus level 10. Very, very important to make sure that that does not occur.
Yeah, and Quacknick is taking a large amount of damage. Rotation coming out from Lunara. They're not winning this race at all, and she is still being very, very passive. Ancient Spear's gonna miss out. Shaman is pushing the forward. Dartmock goes in.
He's quite deep at the moment. He is blinded at 2, so he will jump away for a minute. Whoopi gets out of there with his dimensional shift too. Breeze under a lot of threat, and actually he doesn't have that much mana. Iron Skin will be popped, and they're trying to block him out for the moment, but that was a lot of pressure onto him, but a lot of sustain from Fnatic.
Yeah, and Smexy Style is losing a little bit of health, and again, the Shaman Clamp cleared out there for them. Good zoning here coming out. Good stun as well on the Whirlwind.
They're gonna hit 10.
There it is.
Now Fnatic has to back off. They did not get this Shrine, and that is a big deal. Thornwood Vine Avatar, go for the throat. A Divine Palm as well, and Might of Officers coming in. Smexy Style might be caught out here. Stompball doesn't connect, and that makes sure that he gets away.
This is worst case scenario. They do have level 10 here. They are going to get another Punisher, which they are going to be able to capitalize on completely. That's going to be top 4's going to be going down. Mid 4 at least is going to be falling as well, because nobody's going to be able to deal with Nature's Calling. They don't have level 10. Falstad needs to split soak as best as possible. If you are Fnatic at this point, you just have to worry about soak. You aren't going to defend this mid. Like, the fact they're even here actually blows my mind. The minute that gate goes down, if I was mYinsanity, I'd be grouped as a group and I'd just dive. I would just dive.
Yeah, get in there.
Illidan and Greymane split pushing there. Interesting choice. They are maximizing on their XP, but I feel like the kill potential and what they could have taken past that point would have been far higher with Nature's Calling.
I mean, beyond that, though, what they've done in the early game feels really solid here by mYinsanity, to be honest.
I agree. I almost feel like it's more Fnatic being scared than it is them outplaying.
Maybe.
But I mean, if you get a 2-level lead this early in the game, you're obviously doing something right.
Yeah, a bit cautious, maybe. As we do see Blessed Shield, Wrath of Berserker, Gust, and we have Ancestral Healing, and finally Force Wall coming in. So not all the usual suspects for Fnatic on the other side.
Good damage coming on the Hasuavs there. Blessed Shield as well. They're gonna force the good.
Oh, great palm once again by Splendor. Being able to hit those almost every single time. That's the Gust, though. Making sure that the disengage can occur. But the Metamorphosis avoided the Gust. Didn't quite get Breeze in the end, but it was very close.
That was a lucky trade for Fnatic. Rhaegar was not there the entire time. A lot of cooldowns were burnt for the side of mYinsanity, showing that kill potential very early on, though. Again, I feel like that's something they might have been able to capitalize on a little bit earlier. And as this game moves on, Lunara and Illidan only became more and more terrifying. Another thing to keep in mind, because the forts have fallen so early, Illidan gains value earlier than he would traditionally, kind of when it comes to a lot of the maps, right? Because the structures have already fallen so quickly, but they are going to force the skirmish again. Rhaegar is not with them.
All right, jump away there from the foe as Darkmock gets away from that force wall, trapping him in. They pick up the easy camp on the wells on the other side. And they have been in control of most of these exchanges so far. So Fnatic needs to make up some ground somewhere.
Yeah, I think Fnatic already shows a little bit with their body language that they're questioning what the right choices is. Rhaegar is rotating. He's not rotating when they're committing to a kill, and he is rotating when they're not committing to taking that camp.
I get you.
Defending it. Again, communication, decision-making, not so much going to be on point. They don't really know what they want to make happen.
I mean, even this opening down towards the bottom lane, that amount of damage on towards the fort, almost exactly for free. I mean, they have level 13, so it's a big boon to them, but there was zero resistance there in terms of positioning at all.
And not only that, it makes Illidan, again, the value for him. He has no point at all where he has to really worry about where they can force the team fight. They don't need to be like, well, top four's up, we can't really take a fight here. He pretty much has the entire map to his disposal already. And look at this, because they know they're going to win the Shrine, they try and make soak elsewhere, but mYinsanity is already out-rotating them as well. Very on point with their decision-making.
Scared for Fnatic at the moment, and Quacknix is waiting in the wings here, but Shrimpy has to be very careful about this. He is trapped. He needs to almost fly away, and he's going to try. No, he's poisoned. Is he going to his healer? Oh,
Tassadar?
No, there's no one for him. Oh, the shield's perfect by Whoopi to get in there. Just at the very last second, so important.
I mean, but at the same time, they're still going to be losing the map objective here. They did soak up a little bit of the XP there, and obviously not losing Falstad in this situation mitigates a bit of damage, but realistically, it's just, oh man. mYinsanity is establishing dominance very convincingly here in the first map already.
This was one of my scared points moving forward. Obviously, this first map was going to dictate a lot of the pace.
Yes.
And seeing how they matched up against one another. Right now, mYinsanity looks like they're playing with no fear. And Fnatic is playing with, it looks like a little bit of it, right?
I think without a doubt. I think it very much is fear. And definitely, I kind of not on the same page here. Not so much that it's hurting them terribly so, at least when it comes to communication, but blatantly when it comes to...
All you have to do is look at the color of the map.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. And pushing with his Punisher, and Shrimpy has to be a little bit careful at the front. Could get jumped on towards in a minute. But once again, that Nature's Calling doing big damage to these buildings. Even just taking the fort alone, it's almost level 16 against 13. They're going to be yet another talent tier up.
This is a rough spot. Fnatic, the only team fight they're going to get is 13 into 16. I'd be forcing at their Shaman camp. You know they're going to back out. They're going to be trying to get Merc pressure elsewhere. Like, this is the situation where they need to force extreme gust, something of the like, but instead they are, obviously with Falstad on bottom, they are soaking and getting the Shaman camp instead. So... Fnatic is essentially saying that they want to take the fight. Oh, this is one of the fights they can get if Falstad's going to be able to fly, but he's not making that commitment quite yet.
Wall was really important, but it didn't do enough at all. That's big damage going down on towards Quacknix, and Structural Healing will pick him up. The fly-in from Shrimpy as well. He does have Gust available to him, but at the same time, mYinsanity will back out. They got themselves the Shaman camp. They just want to back off to 16 and then get away, but that was a good save on towards Quacknix.
It was a good save. Very good palm already. And again, essentially what Fnatic is saying by that decision-making there, they were a little bit late again on the rotations. It's very much that they want to try and find somehow a fight in between 16 into 20. My personal problem with that is essentially they're giving up keeps already.
Yeah.
They are, without a doubt, they're going to lose a minimum of one keep if that's their decision-making. That's why I feel like taking that fight was far safer, because if they do lose that next team fight, which they are saying we want to take the riskier one, they can lose the game.
Ooh, and they can even put the pressure on really heavily on both lanes. They can take the easy camp towards the bottom, sync up the hard camp towards the top, and regardless of where the shrine spawns here, mYinsanity exerts pressure on the map without even having to do anything. Look at this.
Not only are they going to be applying pressure, but it's going to be, I mean, time in the camps.
Oh my.
Pressure in all the lanes.
This is so beautiful.
It is.
This is beautiful, Heroes of the Storm.
They're going to paint it all at the same time. Hold on.
I love it.
Synchronized capping. Come on, guys.
Wait.
Count it down. 3, 2, 1, 1. Where are you, Karazim?
Karazim?
He's delaying. I actually is smarter with the Shaman camp because essentially it's the most valuable, so you want it to be neglected
God,
or not focused first, but it's worst case scenario here.
Take a moment to step back and appreciate the beauty of that and the control that mYinsanity has right now. That's great.
It was. Phenomenal play already coming out from them. Fnatic is now looking to soak all the lanes. They have no ability, even if they didn't, would need to worry about all the camps. There's no way they can contest this with 16 talent tier.
No.
It's the third most powerful talent tier spike in the entire game behind 10 and 20.
Even the protection on the shrine, where Muradin and Karazim were as a barrier to stop any kind of onslaught if it were to come.
Yeah.
Never mind anything else. So far, mYinsanity is playing a great game. Great game.
They are. They're in a strong position, the driver's seat, if you will, when it comes to this game. Right, so now we're going to see the baiting over the wall. When it does come to the Punisher, obviously the keep is going to have a lot of threat under here. I don't know if they're going to be able to get the keep, and it's mainly because Lunara is obviously a great siege, but Illidan himself is not so great in that situation. And again, if they don't get the keep, that's going to be a fight where they don't want because it's so close to safety, where he does not do too hot here. So baiting over the wall is not going to matter when your wall does not exist here, Fnatic.
Good Iron Skin, though, making sure Johanna's not going to be fully locked down, but she doesn't have it for the ensuing fight about to come. Darkmock taking quite a bit of damage, jumps towards the well, keeping himself out of there, keeping himself safe. Blumby up at the top, zoning out Quacknix for a little moment there, jumps on. Blumby goes in, Stoneform been popped. Actually, before Avatar.
This is the fight they need. They need to force this fight. Fnatic is trying to make something happen. Schwimpy is getting a little bit of DPS out, does get the stun, and the Blessed Shield in response.
And it actually goes down there. The little bit of a mishap for mYinsanity. Palm's going to have to be popped on towards Splendor. That's going to be a second kill. He may have well not have popped Palm at all. Have it for another fight, potentially, if it's to come along.
And he doesn't get the gut or make something happen to where they can make bigger plays later on, because this is one of the few victories they are going to get. I am excited to see that they did show signs of life in continuing that fight, but Darkmock is trying to scare them off of it. I like this decision-making from Darkmock. It actually makes them question if that's the smart choice to go for him. He would without a doubt survive, and they'd lose the fort, because this is the only tempo swing that they really have.
And we will take the look at that as we go into this. Of course, he'd already popped Stoneform. He gets stunned, unable to pop his Avatar. Splendor jumping in, almost sacrificing himself, unfortunately, in this situation. That camaraderie, trying to save his ally, got him killed in turn. And that is the potential swing now for Fnatic to try and get themselves back into it, but they're not out of the woods yet.
They are not quite yet. They do have a Shaman camp up, and the Middle Knight camp is going to be up as well for them. They are only a level down. 20 is not approached for either one of these teams quite yet. But Lunara has now hit her power spike. She is in the 16 era. With so many structures down, Illidan is going to be thriving very well here in this game. So it's going to come down to the teamwork, how well Fnatic's going to be able to play around the Illidan. And even with all the camps up here, and the late rotation coming out from Fnatic, they gave that up for free.
Yeah.
Again, scared decision-making, it feels like, from Fnatic.
Yeah, they're just going to give up everything towards the bottom. Not easy here for them to deal with. And just going for that hard camp. Muradin is soaking up top against quite a large wave.
Yeah.
So this is tricky, because now he understands that all he has to do is sit there, soak it. It's unbeknownst to Fnatic at the moment. They can't go and chase him because they don't know he's there. Soak that 20. And they could be in a really good spot.
Yeah, and one thing to keep in mind as well, Imposing Presence was selected as 16 for Sonya. Traditionally, you've seen Nerves of Steel, which pretty much makes it, if Illidan focuses on Quacknix, he'll be far less effective. Lunara's damage does come from auto attacks, but it comes from far other sources as well. A lot of spells here, so I feel like there's no way Illidan is going to be on Quacknix. I feel like I would have much rather had a Nervous Steel in that type of situation, so he can dive Lunara and be a threat to the backline.
Fnatic's got to be careful. They could get 20 here before this even caps for Fnatic.
Yeah.
And they're just now delaying it, allowing Lunara to gain some expo maybe in that mid, but she's actually going to come down towards this fight here. Splendor taking a lot of damage. That Force Wall was pretty good to lock him in and get some free damage on towards him. And that's big damage. Oh, another good palm goes on towards Nurok, saving him. But I feel they might have to disengage. They don't really have the sustain there against Fnatic, because, well, mYinsanity, I felt like getting 20 might have been the better play. It's difficult.
Fnatic tried to force that very well, and it worked out for them in this situation. And oddly enough, I feel like what we just saw right there should have been happening starting at level 1 when it came to their composition. They had the ability to provide that kill potential and the threat in a lot of situations, and they were, again, very, very passive against it. They do get the Punisher, but guess what? When so much pressure elsewhere on the map, they aren't going to be able to do too much with it. I want to see them at least get one more fort in this situation. They need to be capitalizing whenever they can with these small victories.
Soak and catch up is the name of the game here for Fnatic at the moment, and that Punisher did a little bit of a weird moonwalk and dies. So up to the top, 20 has been attained. What do we have going? We have Demon Form, we have Galloping Gate, we have Peaceful Riposte, the Blunderbuss Talent, I can't remember what it's called on Greymane. What is? And then of course, waiting a little bit for it, but it should normally be Hardened Shield on towards Muradin.
Yeah, Rewind is an option as well when it comes to Muradin. Both are situational. I really like this choice. mYinsanity recognizes the lack of positioning because of the Force Soak for 20 here that is coming out from Fnatic. Sonya will confirm the bottom 4 and get 20, but guess what? Your keep front wall is now going to be down. So if the Punisher does spawn top now, I mean, there's an immense amount of pressure onto the map objective. Also keep in mind, because mid fort is the only one, now I guess bottom as well, down for Fnatic. If Shrine spawns top, it is very unlikely with only Johanna and Sonya that they're going to be able to force a fight reasonably. can get some kills unless it's immense amount of burst, because again, they're going to be so close to the fort, they'll be able to back out, they're going to be able to reset the fight, and that is something that I am always fearful of when I see Johanna on a comp.
Notice Wubby as well already priming some of those buildings with his shield so that he can try and tank as much as possible, but at least they bought time for that 20. So they do have all of those talents in. We'll give them a little bit of a better spot. We have even the Storm Shield going on to Rehgar with that extra little bit of range, as well as that slightly less cooldown for Tassadar on the force wall.
I really would like to see Fnatic actually try and force a fight in this type of situation. Like actually moving towards bottom. If they do win that fight, they can gain a lot out of it. Keep in mind, it is risky in the sense that Illidan can, there is no like safety to when it comes to the structures, but at the same time, nowhere has that. So I feel like forcing the fight on your opponent's side of the map is something I feel like a lot of teams actually don't do. If you do win those small victories, you can gain a lot out of it when you do make that decision making. And again, guess what fort is the only one that's up, and guess where the shrine is.
Easy peasy if they're able to grab it, and they will be fighting this one, no doubt now with that. Well, they could get themselves a little bit of 4% extra stats if they want to, if they soak that level 21, but Blumby going quite far forwards, taking some extra damage there, and will end up getting away for now. But he doesn't have Dwarf Toss off cooldown just yet, so he just wants to wait until that's off, then maybe launch himself forwards in terms of walking, and then use it potentially to actually get away again. Fnatic sees a good position here, though.
Yeah, they do, and I would like to see the aggression coming out from them. They do have a lot of healing. Blumby's getting a great flank, though, but the Stormbolt misses.
Darmok goes in pretty heavily there, and actually Splinter also goes forwards there with that Radiant Dash to try and make sure he's going to keep alive. That's a great gust to isolate Darkmog. Don't think it's going to kill him off, though, as he will turn around once again. Remember, he's going to be in this form the whole time. He's still going quite low. That's an early palm, considering, and now they're going to have to back off for a moment, wait for Peaceful to propose to extra proc on, and then Darkmog can go in again.
Yeah, and there are two camps pushing in the mid lane here, uncontested so far. It will give them a little bit XP, but it doesn't matter for the most part. Health bars are lower on the side of Fnatic for the time being. Lunara is going to be able to get a lot of damage, and it's 15 to 11 at this point here.
They did a good job of wrestling him off there.
Yeah.
And now they're going to go in for it again. Now they know that they still have Palm available to them. Darkmog's going to need it, though. And yes, it does proc there already. Still in the fight. A lot of damage done to Wubby as well as Breeze. Very, very low. Breeze gets indestructible procced on towards him. Shrimp is going to end up falling down. Falstad dies. Wubby now is the one that they want to bring down along with Smexy Style. He falls as well. mYinsanity, with great coordination and team fight here, are able to take down what looks almost like a 3-0 if they're able to pick up Cryonix. But a Mystical Spear will launch him across that wall and get him to safety.
But without their only ranged up here, essentially as a defense to the Punisher, I don't feel like realistically they're going to be able to defend this with the 41 seconds down.
Oh,
they
beautiful.
even take out the keep here, so it will be threatening the core. And one thing I wanted to note in that team fight, you saw that Falstad was actually walking backwards the entire time Illidan was on him. And that led Sonya to not ever be able to get onto the Illidan. This is a lot what I were talking about when who the Sonya needs to be focusing. She very much, Falstad needs to make sure that she's within range to Sonya, because Sonya will be the only target here on this comp that's going to be able to deal with the Illidan.
Like World of Warcraft, when you run away from your healers, it's like, please come back, I just want to save you, please come back. But that is not going to be the case there at all, and a brilliant kill off of the keep. Now, this Mortar Punisher, once they're able to pick it up, can potentially threaten that core. The thing is that if you're in that location anyway, why walk back and say that the Punisher's going to take the keep? You may as well do this.
No Rehgar is here. There is going to be a gust available here. Sonya's going to pop a lot. This is a 5 versus 4.
They're going to have to use it, I think, at some point. Rehgar's on his way, but Smexy Style might not get there in time before this goes down, because it's one more, and that will be the Punisher going over towards them as they're trying to put on some pressure, but it's not going to work out. Rehgar's now here, but Breeze is already quite low. And whoa, a Metamorphosis at the same time gets him out of the position there, which was quite squarey, and Cryonix is going to have Ancestral Healing onto him, but I think Breeze might need to have been the target there, as he's quite low and can't even tank for this.
Maxie's going to be going down, I think, at this point, to the poison here. That's going to be one falling. Tassadar does have his E popped here. He will be going down as well, slowly but surely. Punisher is now moving towards the core. Keep that in mind. Quacknix is falling as well. Everyone on the side of Fnatic is falling, and that is going to be GG here. Fnatic is going to take mYinsanity is going to take game number 1 here against Fnatic in the grand finals.
Fantastic stuff there for mYinsanity, and talk about control in the start of this game. Really, really strong stuff. And that was moved on forwards here to take themselves this first victory on Infernal Shrines. But we did see Fnatic finding their groove a little bit towards the later stages of that game.
Yeah, you could tell, I felt like nerves definitely came into play in the early half of the game, and slowly but surely they kind of caught up to it. But at that point, with a 2-level lead, like starting pre-10, and all the other factors with how blue the map was, how much pressure they had against them and everything, it just wasn't enough when they got everything together. It's just, they were too far behind at that point. But if they can carry that momentum here into the second game, I feel like they get a much better chance than I feel like they did in the early game this one.
Yeah, it's Cursed Hollow, and which will be the next map, obviously. Something that they can find a little bit of momentum on, as we will see now how things are going to go.
Yeah, we're back here. Good first game for sure. It was basically a very solid performance once again by mYinsanity, but Fnatic didn't really do too shabbily in any way. Something that I thought was really cool was, once again, Splendor's Karazim. I mean, it really seems like you're playing with a lottery here. If he lands those good palms, most of the time it's really, really nice, but if he misses one, it can actually have some really harsh consequences, Grubby.
Yeah, I mean, Murden in the escape from that fortification in the middle, he was a little bit left by himself, and there was the attempt of Karazim to save him.
Right.
Almost all Karazim moves were on point. In this time, there was someone really quite far left behind. I think we actually have a replay of that moment if we're going to look at that in a second.
Yeah.
But yeah, amazing play from mYinsanity. Here is that. Here's one of the moments here. In this moment, Illidan is the one that initiates. Blumby happens to miss his Stormbolt. Illidan dodges most of the abilities. And what's really cool is that Peaceful Repose is a thing. If the coordination is good, you can just throw it and use it as if it's a Divine Shield. As soon as Illidan drops to 20% or 10% life.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, Divine... Excuse me, James, you want to add something?
I really like that Darkmog realized that he can be the initiator here, because there isn't really much to deny him from being stunned and then not going into Metamorphosis. He has a lot of room, unless a spear hits him in that moment. Like,
I mean, there's Cleanse, right? Was there Cleanse or was there Echo of Heaven? Either way, there's a Divine Palm to save him.
Yeah.
And yeah, there wasn't that much lockdown. Not the stun comp that Fnatic successfully ran against Illidan earlier on in the tournament yesterday.
A fearless Darkmog for the most part, really.
Oh.
By the way, we have another replay, Grubby. There were more good moments, so take us to them.
Yeah, basically, okay, I actually didn't expect this replay. It's just a continuance. Finally, the Divine Palm procced, and usually when you lose Illidan, when Illidan kills a single hero, you will get multiple ones.
That is the beauty of Illidan. It's just, that was the replay I was talking about, where I felt like he was walking away from Quacknix, who's the only person who can really deal with Illidan. Also in the past replay, I didn't notice this as well. While all the hectic things were happening, Blessed Shield was missed onto Illidan as well, which is one of their only CCs, because they got into the point where they're against the Johanna, so... Or with the Johanna. Rough.